This little, oh yeah, finally going in with a Mysterious Magnificence. My mouth's gonna do it every time. Okay. Welcome back, friends. It is Lauren the Soap Witch, and in this video I'm just going to skip right to the styling portion just so I can give a little bit more details and insight on the one product wash and go that I did with the bounce curl brush that I'm still liking. But just to give a few, I guess, specific details on what I think is working and isn't working and maybe why. So anyway, let's not waste any time and just get right to it. Alright, so as you may or may not know, I have been getting into styling with this bounce curl brush. Of course, I would get caught into the virality of it. And I usually don't, which is funny. That's beside the point. So anyway, this is actually my third time trying out the brush. I used it the first time in my previous wash day video, not the one I just posted, but the one before that. And then in the refresh that I did that same week, and then the most recent wash day video, which is actually where this footage came from. So that's the brush. that right there. Okay. And so that is the official one, not the knockoff, which I almost bought on accident. Anyway, so I started using it to begin with because I wanted to see how well it worked on type 4 hair. And so also because I had always seen people do like brush styling, and I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it, brushing, using a brush to define your curls, and I really just wanted to see if it worked for me. So here I have split up my hair into sections, and I'm taking that back section and I am just thoroughly saturating it with water, because that is like I'm doing a one product wash and go, and so I need as much moisture on that bottom layer as possible. Then I went in with Mysterious Magnificence, which is my aloe vera spray. It is this additional layer of moisture that I find to be helpful, especially for my high porosity hair, because it needs all the help it can get as far as being able to retain moisture. It accepts it fine, it don't hold on to none of it, and I find out this spray is helpful. So I am only using one styler. No leave-in, no custard, no other product for styling, just the gel. So I went in with a little bit more water because I'm excessive. And then I just showed you this is a full jar of gel that I'm starting with because I just made a new batch. And then I showed how much I'm using on this section. Just to start out, I usually start out with less than I think I need. You can always add, but it's really hard to try to take away. So I'm just thoroughly incorporating the gel into my hair, just raking and pressing still. And part of this is also me just wanting to see if I like the results of the brush styling or raking better. I am going to start doing some comparisons. That's a little bit more gel that I decided to apply to that section. So yeah, eventually I'm going to do the same, like I do one product wash and go, just with raking and pressing, and then just kind of look at them side by side to see which one I like better. I do feel like I'm getting the hang of using the brush, so we'll see. So just thoroughly incorporating that gel that I've added. This is my more coarse side. I think I talked about that before, but just all the way through, it's just more coarse than the other side, period. So what I've just decided to do now is I felt like instead of doing that one big section, it's easier to just go into smaller sections. Funnily enough, it makes it easier and it goes a little quicker because the brush, it's a brush. Anyway, the brush goes through the hair easier, gets caught less, tangles less. When I break up that section into smaller pieces. So I put the styling product on a larger piece, and then I just break it up for the brushing part, and then it goes rather quickly. I take a slow swipe through the section and then do that curve action at the bottom, because that's what I've seen other people doing. And I just take that clip there and just put that hair, kind of out of the way, so I'm not like restyling the same hair over and over again, because that's just frustrating. Okay, so just adding more gel. Like after the first section, I stopped showing you all the bits and pieces of gel that I'm using on each section, but it's about the same. I'll go in with the first hunk, and then I add a little bit more like I did on the first section, and I felt like that worked pretty well. So then on all the sections, I'm just going through and raking the product through just to make sure I have it nicely incorporated into the strands, because I just feel like that seems to be the best method as far as getting the best results and the best definition. Also, the gel that I'm using is mostly made of aloe vera juice, and so it's not drying at all for the hair. Even when I get to my 5-day refresh, my hair usually is not dry if I've done a wash and go with the gel or the custard. They're both made primarily from aloe vera juice. Anyway, so going back in with the brush, I go under the hair and then just kind of go around and do the curve thing at the bottom. Again, that's how I saw other people using it, so I figured that's how I would use it. The little, I don't know, indentations or whatever you call it around the edges of the brush are supposed to kind of be like not raking. I'll think of it later when it doesn't matter. It's not finger coil. Whatever, I'm done. But basically it's supposed to mimic fingers, and so it's just supposed to help get your hair more defined. I do think it does help. They have one that's supposed to be like a volumizing brush. Am I making up words? And it's got just more of those indentations around the brush, and so I guess it just creates more curls. I don't know. I've seen people use it. I don't really think it's for me. I saw with really curly hair people that it didn't seem to make a difference, but people with wavy hair thought it made a difference. So I'm adding more water to this front section of hair. This is what I refer to as my most difficult hair. It is very coarse, very high porosity. It was the most damaged when I did all that terrible damage to my hair back forever ago at the beginning of this leg of my hair journey, and didn't even have a curl pattern up there. So it's getting somewhere. I don't know where we're getting, but we're getting somewhere. Anyway, so I'm thoroughly saturating that hair, especially in the front, because it really needs all the help it can get. It's very hard for it to retain any moisture, and when it dries, it often looks like I've put nothing on it. And so that's the part that I usually kind of have to baby and work the hardest at. So this little, finally going in with a Mysterious Magnificence. My mouth's gonna do it every time. Okay. Mysterious Magnificence, and just raking that through until I get a little bit of foaming action. I don't not like big heaping, whatever, not a bunch of foam. Okay, because I don't know what I was even trying to say there. It's gonna happen again. And then once I rake that through and get the foaming action, I start applying the styling products. So in with more gel in the front of my head and the top. I tend to use more gel or more product up there because, again, this is my most coarse hair, and it is the hardest to define and keep defined and retain any type of moisture. It's just like, don't care. So anyway, raking through, raking and pressing to get the product nicely incorporated in my hair. And I section this top front area even more than I did the back, because even though the back is more coarse on that side of my head, it's still less coarse than the front. So going back in with the brush, and like, it's getting pretty good definition in curl, which is why I've like kept working with it to see what all can happen, what I can get, because I feel like usually my hair looks more like zigzags or like really small waves or whatever, if you will. I feel like that's just kind of what 4B hair looks like, in my opinion. So the brush gives it a little bit more of a curl action to me. It's just my little observation. Okay, so working our way to the front here, these layers, these sections are the most, I don't know if they still have damage. I'm not really sure why the hair is like it is up there. I'm not a scientist. All I know is it doesn't act like any of the rest of my hair. It is the most high porosity. I'm wondering if over time maybe it will just continue to, I don't know, heal or rehab or whatever I need to do with it.
I'm just rambling, sorry. Okay. So going through and raking my product through, raking the gel through, really talking aggressively to the camera and excitedly, because that's what I usually do on wash day. Anyway, so working that in, I did extra, like I said, gel up here in these sections, hoping that it would make some type of a difference when I go in and bring the brush through the sections. I also broke this portion up into much smaller sections, because this isn't even half of the size of the sections that I did in the back, and I still broke it up into like 3 or 4. But I was wondering if I broke it up into smaller sections, if it would turn out more defined and less dry and frizzy looking. So anyway, just spoiler alert, it was a struggle still. But anyway, just going through with that same motion I've been doing with the brush all the way to the ends. And see, this section still there is okay. It's a little less defiant, but as I get to those very top layers especially, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. That hair likes to stay straight-ish. Not straight obviously, because there's some pattern to it, but it doesn't curl up as much. And see, there you go, that's what I'm talking about right there. It almost kind of wants to sit limp, and it doesn't shrink up as much either, which is how I know that hair is still struggling with the health of that portion of hair. So anyway, it's just kind of crazy to have so many textures all over my head, because it all still pretty much feels like high porosity, or dries like high porosity, no matter what it looks like when it's wet. I thought adding water there would help and make it look less how it was looking. It did help. And so having these different textures all over my head is a bit of a challenge, because then I have to figure out what to do with what section, which is why hair health and hair type it's a culmination of things. Because yes, I'm high porosity, yes, I'm 4B, type 4, but it's different. Like, somebody with those hair types may still have different problems or struggles than I have, because I just have different types all over, like different curl patterns all over, if you will, or different like levels of coarseness all over, and all that matters as well. Also, I have really hard water here, and I recently bought a shower filter, so we're going to see how that changes things. But that also matters, your environment, the type of water that comes out of your faucet. Like, there's so many different variables. Anyway, so going through, struggling with this hair, trying to figure out how I can stop struggling. I think it's just going to be a matter of time, to be honest. I'm just going to have to keep seeing how it looks over time. So that's the last section, and though it wasn't horrid, it definitely, like, sometimes I struggle to feel like it doesn't take away from the rest of the hair, but you gotta accept it all. I gotta love all the hair on my head. So anyway, I added some more water at the end, because I usually do whenever I do a wash and go with gel or custard. I always add some water at the end. Water is a big part of a good wash and go. I know I believe it, and I've heard and seen a lot of other people say it. You want that hydration, that moisture along with your products, and when you feel like you need more product, you might want to add more water first, just to see. So because I didn't go in with more product, I went with more water, and I think it definitely made a difference and it helped. So that's the wet results completed. That's how much gel I use. Is like maybe a quarter of the jar. I didn't use a ton. You don't really need a whole lot. So this is it, just dry. I diffused it off camera, and this is what the dry just it being dried initially looks like, which turned out pretty good. I was actually pretty surprised, especially that front area that I keep looking at and toying with, because I was kind of scared it was just going to be a big bucket of frizz, but it wasn't. Yay. Okay. All right, so going into a full 360, just so you can see what it looks like after just diffusing, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like after I fluffed my roots and stretched my hair. Bam, that's the final look. I was super happy actually with the results of this, and yeah.
Alright, so that's going to be all for this one. I really hope you enjoyed this video and find it helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel and clicking the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. And I will see you in the next one, friends.